Perfect. All right, ladies. So today we're in our second coaching session, and today we're going to be talking about storytelling and the art of the pitch. I heard from the EBN team, from the Big Africa team, that a lot of you were asking for additional support with your pitches. So that's what today's session is really going to be focused on, is how to incorporate storytelling into your business communications, and then also how to provide you with some tips so that you can pull a pitch deck together. My recommendation is that in future coaching sessions that I ask you to send me your pitch deck so that we can then review them together, but I'll get to that a little bit later at the end of today's session. So first of all, welcome back. I'm super excited to have you here. The topic that we're covering off today is something that I am very, very passionate about, because I see so many business owners really struggle with talking about their business in a way that really resonates with their audience. So that's really what we're going to be covering off today. If at any point during our time together you are feeling stuck or you are feeling confused, please let me know in the chat. This is a no judgment zone. So if there's anything that you need, just let me know, even if that is for me to slow down at times. I'm really trying to be mindful of that. But if at any point I'm talking too quickly or you don't understand something I'm saying, please just let me know, and I'm happy to explain it again or in a different fashion. Before we jump into today's content, please turn off all of your distractions. Put your phone on silent, turn off your desktop notifications, lock your doors if you have to, whatever it is that you need to do to really be present here with us today and participating, so that you are not only getting the most out of the session, but that you're also getting practical things that will move you forward in your business. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's content. It's quite meaty. There's going to be quite a bit of work for you ladies to be doing during the session. I do hope the EBN team has passed on the workbook for today. If not, can someone on the team please just send out an email real quick to everyone so that they have access to that. But no worries, if you don't have the workbook, pen and paper is perfectly fine, and as is just typing on your laptop if you wish, okay? So today we're going to be talking about storytelling. And the reason that storytelling is really important is because as a business owner, there's going to be so many times that you need to talk about your business. Here are some of the examples of what you'll be required to talk about as a business owner. The first thing is your customer experience. So what is the experience that your customers go through as a result of working with you and interacting with your products and services? The second thing that you'll often have to talk about is your business model. And I know that you've already had a session on business model development. You do need to be able to describe what it is that your business does and how it does it. And how do all of those different pieces fit together to make you different from your competition? Which moves on to the third thing, which is your unique story. Each and every one of you has something unique about you. That's what makes you a human being. Each of you is completely different. And the reason that you get into business, the reason that you're continuing in business is going to be different for each and every one of you also, which is what we kind of touched upon in our last session, our first coaching session, around being authentic. You each have your own individual story to tell. And I want you to harness the power of that individual story to really start to make a connection with your customers, with your partners, with your employees, with your investors, and anyone else that wants to interact with your business. Another thing that you'll often need to talk about is your traction or your achievements. People are going to be interested in how far you've come already. What are the things that you've achieved? Have you expanded? How many customers do you have, etc. And then the final thing that you'll need to be talking about is your numbers. Now, plainly, numbers usually just describe, how much money you're making and how much money are you spending. What is your profit? But your numbers can also be a whole host of other things that your audience might be interested in. So we'll be talking about that a bit later on during today's session. Okay. What I want you to take away from today is that your message and how you deliver that message is everything. You need to be building a connection with the people that you are having conversations with, whether that be with potential customers, with potential partners, with investors, with employees. Every single message that you deliver has to connect with someone. Otherwise, your message isn't going to get you anywhere, and it's not even worth you then delivering it in the first place. So today, I really want to help you to build your confidence in delivering that message, to understand the different types of messages that you can be delivering, and how to make sure that they're making an impact on your listeners. Why does storytelling matter? Okay, so storytelling, especially in business, matters for a number of different reasons. The first thing is that we connect and relate to people through stories. Think about it. When someone is telling a story to you, they can really capture your attention. They can really start to help you feel as though you're walking along that journey with them. When you're just giving facts and data, it can be easy for people to lose interest or to get distracted and to not really understand why your message is important. Okay. The second reason storytelling matters, and I actually touched on this already, stories capture your audience's attention. Stories are going to make people interested in what you have to say. They are going to take them through this journey and walk them on this path that helps them to continue to build up interest in what it is that you're saying. Stories give meaning to your products and services. Just telling someone what it is that you sell or what it is that that thing does doesn't really make a difference. When you put a story behind your product, if you explain, this is why we do what we do, this is why our product is useful for you, this is the impact that our product or service can make, it really starts to help people make a stronger connection and to understand whether or not what you're selling makes a difference for them, whether or not it's something that's of interest to them. Stories can also motivate people to take action. When someone is, interested in a story, they will be interested in your next steps. They will be interested in what else you have to offer them. They will want to know more about your call to action and be motivated to take that next step and to take that action and ultimately, hopefully, buy from you, or in the case of employees, to work for you, or for investors to believe in you and invest in you. Stories help to build up trust and rapport, and they differentiate you from your competitors. Every single one of your businesses is going to have a different story to tell, even if you are selling the exact same thing. There's going to be a reason that you got into your business. There's going to be an impact that you're trying to make or an outcome that you're trying to achieve, which will be different from those around you. So when you have stories involved in your marketing messages and your communication, they can help someone to build up trust and rapport with you because they make that connection. And only when people trust you are they ever going to buy from you or invest in you. And then finally, stories help to make data and facts applicable, interesting, and relevant. If you're just spewing numbers at people or spewing facts at people, it can be very easy for people to become disinterested because they don't understand how that data and facts make any relevant or are of any relevance to them. Sorry, I lost my English there for a second. So when you incorporate that stuff into a story, instead of just giving them data and facts, it helps it to be more memorable, it makes it more relevant, and they actually continue to be interested in that, okay? So now what makes a great story? The first element of a great story is that there's a human element. You're talking about another person. It might be the customer, it might be, in the case of a social enterprise, it may be your beneficiaries or your communities or the other people that you're trying to make an impact on. But there needs to be a human element to your business story. It cannot just be about your products and services. Think about it. If you've been told about the latest app that's available, and all that app is doing is telling you how it works or how fast it goes or how convenient it might be, and there's no story inside of it, you're going to struggle to understand why that app is different from anything else that's out there. So you want to make sure that there is a human element. There is someone that your audience can relate to, okay? Another thing that makes a great story is that it clearly describes the impact on your customer. Your customer wants to know how whatever it is that you're selling will have a positive impact on his or her life. There has to be an impact on your customer. You need to be either fulfilling a need or removing a problem for them, and they want to understand how that works. Again, they don't care about how fast your processing system is or all the latest specs of your product. They want to know how those things impact them in a positive way and how they remove pain points from them. Another thing that makes a great story is that you have one key line that summarizes the business. Now, this one key line is often referred to as something like an elevator pitch. It's something that helps you clearly and concisely describe your business in a way that makes sense to people and that they can resonate with. And we're going to be working on those a little bit today. Another thing that makes a great story is that it explains what you do and your results so far. Again, this is, it kind of goes back to the impact. You want to explain what your product does for people and how those results have manifested. So not just results in terms of locations that you're in or number of customers that you have, but results in terms of how your product and service has impacted your customer. You know, what are the positive things that your clients have to say about what it is that you offer? Those are your results. Those are the human element of your results. Another thing that makes a great story is that you focus more on why you do what you do rather than how you do it. Okay. So again, there needs to be an outcome of what it is that you're offering, the why behind it. Why is it important for you to get this product or service out there into the world? What is the impact that you're trying to make? Rather than how. People don't really care about your process of how you get something from start to finish or how you get things to them as the client. They want to know why. Why should they care about what it is that you're selling? And then finally, what makes a great story is that there is some sort of call to action. This means that you make it very clear about what you expect your audience to do next, whether that's to book in a consultation with you, or to send you an email, or to make an investment, or to show up at your next market or fair. You want to tell people what they can do next so that they can keep that connection going with you. Now, your call to action may not be buy now, because again, it takes time to build up trust and rapport with people before they're willing to spend money on what it is that you're selling. So maybe your first call to action is just a way for them to keep in touch, or for them to learn more, or for you to continue that conversation in some sort of way. But you want to tell them what to do next. There needs to be some sort of call to action involved. Now, there are so many different places that you are going to want to share your stories in the course of doing business, okay? So the first is with potential customers. This one is kind of maybe the most obvious one, is that you need to tell your customers who you are, what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how it impacts them. Your potential customers are the lifeline of your business, and you really want to build strong connections with them as soon as you possibly can and as frequently as you possibly can. You'll also be sharing stories to potential investors. Now, I don't know if all of you are looking for investment, but I'm sure some of you probably are for your businesses. And again, your investors are going to want to know a bit more about you and a bit more about your business. And I'll be giving you ladies tips on how to have these conversations as we get through today's content. But that's another potential audience that you have, are your investors. You may be sharing your story in a room full of strangers. Maybe you are invited to speak about your business at a conference or a networking event or on a panel discussion. And therefore, you're talking to people that you don't even know, and you don't maybe know what interests they have. Maybe they'll never be potential customers or potential investors, but you need to find elements of your story that still resonate with these room full of strangers. You'll want to share your stories with your team. When you're talking to your team, you really want to inspire them. You want to share with them information that's going to make them buy into your vision, buy into the work that you're doing, and to really come on board to support you in reaching that vision. You know, your team is going to want to know why you're making the decisions that you're making, what you're hoping that the impact of those decisions might be, and how those decisions are going to affect them as well as team members. You can share your stories in marketing material. So for example, maybe in a brochure or a case study, anything that you're sharing out with other people in your audience, like in terms of marketing, getting people on board, you'll want to put some of your stories into that material as well. You can share stories on your website. So for example, you might have an About Us or About Me page on your website that talks about the story of your business. It talks about your own personal story and why you do the work that you do. You can also share stories about your clients on your website in the form of testimonials or again, in case studies, and really helping people to understand, okay, this client looks a bit like me or has a similar problem to one that I have, and this is the outcome for this particular person. So you're really trying to make those stories, again, connect with your audience. And then the final place that you can share stories, although this list really isn't exhaustive, but another place that you can share your story is on social media. So again, like, your own personal story, your company story, you can do some behind the scenes sort of stuff. Like if you're about to launch something new, or you're expanding into a new market, or you're opening a new office, like all of those behind the scene things are stories that people actually pay attention to and that build up the interest and momentum in what it is that you're offering. Okay. All right, so let's get into the first type of story that you are all going to be responsible for explaining to people. And this is your customer's experience. You want to be able to explain to your audience what sort of experience your customer is going to have as a result of working with you, okay? And I like us to do this using something that I call the you know how statement. All right, so I'm going to walk you through this formula. I'm then going to give an example, actually 2 examples of how you can use this statement to describe your business. And then I'm going to be giving you all some time to actually work on your own during today's session. Okay, so first, let me explain what I mean by this. The first thing that you do is you start your sentence out with the words, you know how, ... Now, the reason that you use these 3 words is because it will then have the person in front of you start to imagine what you're about to say next. It immediately will start to build up their interest because they're going to now move into this place, a different place of listening than if you're just doing a typical elevator style pitch of like, hey, we're a construction company and we build big buildings. Like people don't really get inspired by that. But when you start with you know how, it allows people to move into this frame of mind where they start imagining what you're about to say next. Okay. So you start with you know how. You then add in a problem statement. And the problem statement that you add is the problem that your client or your potential client is currently experiencing. You then add in the impact of that problem. So what impact does that problem have on your potential customer? You then add in where your business comes in. So how does your business fix that problem? And then finally, the result of working with you or your business. Okay, so these are the 4 elements that you're going to be adding into your you know how statement. Let me now give you an example that hopefully we can all relate to. I'm actually going to give you two examples. The first one is, well, they're both going to be from Uber, which I believe most of you have in your countries, I hope, or some sort of similar car sharing app. So I'm going to give you 2 examples from Uber, because Uber actually has 2 different customers. The first customer that they have are people like you and me who are using their app to actually get a taxi, to get a ride somewhere. The second type of customer that they have are the drivers, because the drivers need to join into their business. They're not employees, they're considered contractors, but the drivers need to join in so that they actually have a service that they can offer, right? So Uber needs to appeal to 2 different types of audiences, and they will change their statement based on the audience that they're speaking to. So the one that you see here on the screen is an example for us as passengers, okay? So again, you start with you know how. You know how it's late at night and you're standing on the side of the road wondering how you'll get home. So that's the problem statement. It's late at night, you're standing on the side of the road wondering how you'll get home. You're starting to fear, sorry, there's a typo here. You're starting to feel a bit scared out there by yourself. That's the impact of your problem. Remember, your problem is that it's late at night, you're standing on the side of the road, wondering how you'll get home. And the impact of that is that you're starting to feel a bit scared out there by yourself. Next, how do we come in? At the touch of a button, we connect you with a taxi driver in your area. Okay, so that's how Uber comes into this problem. They, at a touch of a button, they connect you with a taxi driver in your area, getting you home safely, affordably, and quickly. So that's the result of Uber coming in and connecting you with this taxi driver. Okay, so when we pull it all together, it sounds like this. You know how it's late at night and you're standing on the side of the road wondering how you'll get home. You're starting to feel a bit scared out there by yourself. At the touch of a button, we connect you with a taxi driver in your area, getting you home safely, affordably, and quickly. Okay, so this is from, again, the passenger's point of view. I don't have a slide for the other one, but I do want to give you another example from the driver's point of view. Okay, so you know how you have that car sitting in your driveway just collecting rust. Okay, so that's the problem. You have a car sitting in your driveway and it's just collecting rust. You're starting to wonder if you should sell it just so that you can make more money. Okay, so that's the result of having this car in your driveway. With Uber, you can use your car to generate more income by being paired up with a passenger in your area, making you more money, making your car useful, and saving it from the junk bin or something like that, right? So you see how there's these two different versions, right? You have one for the passenger and one for the potential driver. Now, the same might be true for your businesses. You may have a number of different audiences that you need to try to explain yourselves to. But for today's purpose, I would like you to think about your customer. Imagine that there is a potential customer sitting in front of you, and you want to be able to put this statement together for them. All right, so it's now going to be your turn. I'm going to go back a slide so that you have the template. This is also in your workbook, but please now take about, I'm actually going to give you 7 minutes for this because I want you to really think about it and to come up with something that makes you happy. So you're going to spend about 7 minutes designing the statement for your business. And once it's finished, please type it into the chat. Okay, so I'm going to start my timer now. If you're stuck at any point or you need help, just let me know. But you now have 7 minutes to work on the statement for yourself. All right, go ahead, ladies. All right, ladies, that's 7 minutes. Let me give you a few more because I think you're probably still working. And yeah, please just pop them into the chat as you work on them, and then I can give you some real-time advice on how to make them even stronger. So take another 3 minutes. I'll come back and let you know when that 3 minutes is up. Okay, great. So that's 10 minutes total. I see that some of you ladies have started to put things in. So let me go ahead and read what you have. And for those of you who are still working, that's okay. We'll come to you in a few minutes. So starting with Salma. You know how you want to respond and alleviate the suffering of drought affected vulnerable communities in the hard to reach areas. The drought is increasing cases of malnutrition and protection risks to children and women. Partnering with PMWDO can reach these people and provide assistance as we are on the ground. Working together will provide assistance to the hard to reach vulnerable communities, decreasing malnutrition and providing protection services. So Salma, let me go ahead and have you come off mute for a second.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. So would this be so tell me a little bit more about your business. So I understand that you are reaching these areas, you're providing assistance on the ground, but would you be saying this statement to someone who might be a donor or a partner, or would this be someone who's actually suffering themselves from malnutrition and drought related problems?
A donor. We'll be
A
talking
donor.
to, yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So, all right, great. So the way that I would maybe change it up a bit is, well, this is actually going to be a comment for everyone. The way that we write things down is always going to be different than how we say them aloud, right? So we tend to use shorter words when we're speaking. We tend to use different words when we're speaking than if we're writing things. So for all of you, my suggestion will be to practice this a lot, say it out loud a number of times and see if it rolls off your tongue. So maybe what I would say is, how, I might say something as obvious as like, how our region or our country is experiencing experiencing extreme drought. This is increasing cases of malnutrition and protection risks to women and children. So actually, let me type it in here for you, Salma. How our country is experiencing extreme. This is increasing nutrition, protection, children and women. So I would start with like that, like just shortening it up in that way. How our country, and maybe you don't want to say country, maybe you want to say region or counties, like make it specific to you and to the neighborhoods and communities that you're working with. But maybe that's how I would shorten those first two sentences is, how our country is experiencing extreme droughts. This is increasing cases of malnutrition and protection risks to children and women. Then I would say, by partnering with PMWDO, you make an impact on vulnerable communities. You can make a And then I would maybe say something like this, like by partnering with your company, you can make a direct impact on these vulnerable communities and help us to decrease malnutrition and provide protection services. I think that's how I might shorten it up a little bit. Okay, but this is a great start. Just now practice saying it aloud and see if there's any other bits of it that you might want to change. Yeah. Okay, Lydia, how you want to add personal touches to your space, but have a hard time finding products that suit your eco-friendly values. Beautiful, great. You're feeling your values don't have a place in this world. Lydia, you can even take out this second one, because I think you've covered the problem. You've covered the problem and the impacts in the first one. So you can just say how you want to add personal touches to your space, but you're having a hard time finding products that suit your eco-friendly values. I think that's perfect as it is. We provide you functional and eco-friendly products to suit your modern lifestyle and make your home an extension of your personality. This is perfect. Well done. This is really, really good. Perfect. All right. Mihanta, you know how you buy costly cosmetics that are not suitable for your type of skin, above all sensitive skins. So you're beginning to lose confidence on yourself. With Mihanta Cosmetics, formulations elaborated with natural ingredients based on Malagasy beauty rituals offer you the right proposition for your specific need. Okay, I would definitely change this up a little bit. So what I would say, my dear, is, okay, you know how to in your appearance. Oops. Cosmetics for your skin. So I would maybe start that way. So you know how you want to have confidence in your appearance, but you're finding it hard to find suitable cosmetics for your skin. Or you can even say for your sensitive skin. Then, hold on, let me scroll back up. With Mihanta Cosmetics. Oops, I didn't spell that correctly at all. Cosmetics. Okay, so how would I phrase this? With Mihanta Cosmetics, we use natural your skincare. Okay, I might say it like this. So with Mihanta Cosmetics, we use natural Malagasy ingredients and rituals that will meet your skincare needs or enhance your skincare needs. I might shorten it up that way. But again, like, as I've said, like you ladies really want to practice this, practice saying it aloud, practice also saying it in your local languages, because I know most of you are not doing business in English, and that's perfectly fine. So you want to make sure that whether you're speaking French or Portuguese or Somali or Amharic or whatever country you're coming from, that you're also changing it up to be in your local language. Okay, so let me now do the next one. Anna. Oh, Anna. Okay. You know how the price of cooking oil has raised and still the quality is quite lower. People can't afford the premium ones. We at a convenience shop offer a healthy peanut oil at nearly the same price as the usual cooking oil in the market. With our peanut oil, health is better, and we use the made in Madagascar. The benefit is for all. Okay, so what I would say, Anna, is you know how price of cooking oil raised. Yet quality remains shop offer healthy, locally sourced peanut. Oops. Peanut oil that is better for your health. I'd maybe say this, Anna. So you know how, oops, not that. You know how the price You know how the price of cooking oil keeps rising, yet the quality remains poor. At our shop, we offer a healthy, locally sourced peanut oil that is better for your health and for your wallet. I think that's a really quick and easy way to describe what it is that you're doing. Yeah. You're welcome. Okay, next up we have, hold on, let me scroll up. Lorena. Okay, you know how the coronavirus is still present. You are still quite skeptical to go to crowded places. Yeah. Natura Mania offers products made from medicinal plants, essential oil to help you protect your immune system and calm your mind. Okay, great. I would maybe just change this up a bit. You know how still present. I think the first part is perfect. And so you're oops. This is okay. We provide medicinal. I don't think you have to go into so much detail about exactly what the plant itself is. So I think you could just say medicinal plants and essential oils to protect system. I think you could shorten it like that, but that's a really great. I just took a couple of words out. So very nice. Next we have, okay, so that was Lorena. Anna, we've done yours. I'm just going in order. Nani, so you sent yours as a direct message, but that's okay. I'm just going to still read it aloud. So by partnering with Tolamart, you will be able to buy items from various vendors in one place. You'll be able to send packages abroad. You will be able to buy bulk products at a discounted price. And you will also have access to our delivery system. Nani, let me have you come off mute for a minute because I just want to understand a little bit more about your business. Hi, how are you? Good.
How are you? I'm fine.
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. So could you tell me? Oh, I can't hear you so well.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, perfect. Yes, I hear you now. So, so can you just tell me like what types of items are available on your like, is it a platform or how does it work?
Let me give you a highlight about my business.
Yes,
okay, Tolamart is an e-commerce platform. It's an e-commerce platform, so we basically do e-commerce business and also delivery business.
Okay.
Our platform is different vendors. It's a multi-vendor platform.
Okay.
So everything is on demand. Whenever you want to buy something, it's on demand. We don't have stock. We directly purchase the product from the vendors and we deliver it to the customer.
Okay.
So anybody can access what different kinds of products to that platform and purchase so that we can deliver it. Besides that, we also provide delivery system. Like we have package, so according to that package, we provide delivery system. We have vehicles, we have motorcycles. So the platform is you can access it wherever you are. It's an international platform. Our customers are the diaspora community, the Ethiopian diaspora community, the diplomats, and the local community. As I told you, the platform is international, so most of our clients purchase like gifts, grocery items, or anything from abroad. Then we will deliver it to them for their family. They actually buy products for their family as a gift, or maybe I don't know, just some like grocery and stuff. So the platform supports 5 international languages. So as I told you, our second package which are the diplomat community in Ethiopia.
Okay.
So they will try to reduce the barrier, the language barrier. So
Gotcha.
it supports 5 different languages. So people can buy anything easily on that platform. And the second community, for the local community, we can provide that, like the e-commerce and also the delivery system. Like we give package for the shops and the vendors, for our vendors. We actually give discounts, like discount for our vendors. So whenever they want to deliver something, like from the shop or to the end customers, they can use our delivery system.
So
this
you
is the
yourself, like,
basic-
so I understand that you're a platform, but in theory, you're actually a logistics company, right?
logistics and an e-commerce. We also have like we don't have stock.
Yeah, I get
So
that.
we
I get
sell
that.
like
Yeah. So
we
the products
sell
that you're selling on the platform, the majority of them are imported?
no. It depends on the product actually,
Okay.
and in fact it depends on if the vendor is if it's like a supermarket. We already put like their product in the platform.
Okay.
So it
Okay.
might be imported product or it might be local. So that one depends on the vendor.
So would you say you're kind of like an Amazon?
Yes, somehow
Okay.
like Amazon.
Okay, perfect. And then when you say that you send packages abroad, so then you do the pickup and the export of that stuff. You deal with all of the customs nonsense and paperwork for your clients. Yeah. Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you. That helps a lot. Let me now type you up something. Okay, so what I would say is, you know how it can be difficult to find the product. Or impossible to find. So I maybe start like that. You know how it can be difficult to find the products that you want online. Everything is overpriced or impossible to find locally. Then I would say with Tolomart, you will find okay, so actually you will find or doorstep. So Nani, what I would maybe do is this so I actually think that you need to have more than one statement. So one of them will be for people that are looking for products, and the other will be for people who are looking to send abroad. Because then when you think about sending abroad, you're like, basically what you sent to me in the first one was combining all of that stuff together. And I think when you separate them out, it makes it a little bit easier to distinguish the problem that the person is facing and how you help them. So for the other one, you could say like, you know how it can, you know how it's difficult to send items abroad safely and affordably. And then maybe you say, so you wait until someone is traveling. They can carry it for you. So I'd maybe say something like this, like, you know how it's difficult to send items abroad safely and affordably. So you wait until someone is traveling and hope they can carry it for you. With Tolomart, we take the hassle out of your international shipments. And hold on, just scrolling up. And send your packages for you, or something like that. So I think you can have them be two separate things, okay? Depending on who you're speaking to or where you're talking about it and things like that. All right,
Okay.
cool. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
You're welcome. All right, let me see who's up next. Next up, Ketura, sorry, you have such a poor connection. I don't understand the assignment. Pole, sorry. So what I've asked the ladies to do is to come up with a bit of an elevator pitch using this formula that you see here on the screen. But it might be easier, since you have a poor connection, to just watch the replay and then go through the exercise again. And then we can always look at it during our next coaching session. Or if you're able to use the examples that the ladies are sharing, you might be able to do it while you're waiting. Okay. Okay, next up we have Sohandra. So you know how power outages persist in our country. Yep. Sarasota candles offer you a bright flame that lasts long and without dripping at the best price. That's perfect. Oh, you sent me oh no, it's the same one. Okay, yeah. So Handra, I think Sahandra, I hope I'm saying your name right also, sorry. Yeah, I think that what you've written is actually perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, Anna. Oh, good, you have another one. Okay, so we talked about peanut oil before. So you know how most of active people don't wake up early. We don't always take a healthy breakfast. At our shop, we offer a healthy, locally sourced peanut butter that is ready. We just spread it with bread or rice, and we're ready for the day. Okay, so what I would say is, you know how as a busy person, you don't always breakfast at our shop. The locally sourced peanut butter that you can easily spread to give you So I might say this, Anna. So you know how as a busy person, you don't always have time for a healthy breakfast. At our shop, we offer a healthy, locally sourced peanut butter that you can easily spread. I took out the bread or rice, but you can put that back in, that you can easily spread to give you nutrition for the day ahead. Yeah. I think that's everyone, yeah. Great job, ladies. So what I would suggest is that you just keep practicing these things, right? So say them aloud, say them to other people, get a feel for what words excite them, what words turn them off. You can tell a lot through body language and how people are, you know, what their facial expressions look like or their body expressions look like when they're listening to you. So you'll start to see if you're hitting the right marks with the words that you're using. And if not, you can just change them up. And remember, I did tell you all that you might have different products, like Anna shared one for peanut oil and then also one for peanut butter. You might have different products that you want to do these for. You might have different customers that you want to do these for. Like I was saying with Nani, that, you know, she has one that are people looking for products, where she has others that are people trying to ship out and to, you know, get stuff out of the country. So she might want to say it differently depending on who she's speaking to. So you've all done an amazing job at the first start. So keep working on these. And if you have questions about them in future sessions, please just bring them to me and let me know. But this is really a concise way for you to start talking about your business and to help people to really understand, okay, I get it. I get what this person does. I get what this product does. I get what this service can give to me. Okay, so awesome job. All right. Next up, we have your business model. And I know that you all worked on your business model recently during one of your training sessions. So you should have a general idea about what your business model looks like. Now, we're going to be talking today about your value proposition. And again, I know that you covered off value proposition during your training, but I want you to be able to have a statement that summarizes your value proposition. Okay. So People are not going to get excited by your product or service alone. They're only going to get excited about how that product or service can make their lives better, which you've done just now with your you know how statements, but we're going to take it a step further. A good value proposition will tie together your customer, what that person wants, and a compelling description of how you provide that to them. Now, we have two different templates that you can use for your value proposition. The first one is this. Everything that you see in brackets is what you would then change, okay? So what you would customize. So you have 4, and then you insert your customers who want, you insert the result that they're looking for. We offer them, you insert your product, which means ... So which means they get this, or they experience this, or they achieve this. Let me give you a real example. For busy professionals who want, so the customer here is busy professionals. So busy professionals who want practical and stylish clothing, okay? And then our 100% ethically made cotton dresses will look great on your body and feel light on your conscience. All right, so busy professionals is your customer. What they're looking for is practical and stylish clothing. Your product is 100% ethically made cotton dresses. And the result of that is that they look great on your body and feel light on your conscience. Okay, so this is the first template. The second template that you can try is our product. So again, you insert your product. Our product helps customer, you insert your customer who want to have a specific result, and then by doing this and this. All right, so let me again give you a practical example. So this workshop, so the product in the sense is the workshop. So this workshop helps entrepreneurs who want to grow their business by providing clarity and structure on how to attract customers and make sales. Now, I'm not talking specifically about this workshop that we're having right now, but that's just a general thing that if you have a service-based business, that may be how you put that together. Okay, so we have these two templates. I would love for you ladies to try out both of them. I'm going to give you 5 minutes on each of them. And then again, you can share them in the chat with me. These are both in your workbook, but for now, what I'll do is I will hold up. So actually what I'll do is let me copy this into the chat so that you have the template in the chat, and then I'll have the example up on the screen, okay? So for the first 5 minutes, I want you to work on this first template. When it's ready, pop it into the chat if you want to, and let me just keep the example up for you so that you understand how to translate it into an actual statement, okay? So here's the example, and your 5 minutes starts now. Okay, that's 5 minutes. I know that you may not be done, so please just continue to work on these in your own time. I'm not going to go through them as I did with all the others. Salma, you did share yours. I think yours looks good. You might even want to be more specific about like the specific communities that you're talking about. So if you're changing up projects that you're working on, maybe you have like a very specific community that you discuss in each of your statements. But I think yours is a great example. So anyone else who wants to share theirs, please feel free to go ahead. But I'm now going to ask you to move on to the second template. Again, I'm going to pop this into the chat and then I'm going to leave an example up on the screen. Okay. I think someone has their hand up. Salma, yeah. You can go ahead and unmute.
Thank you. You said you have to be specific about the community.
I'm
Like
not saying you don't have to be. I'm just saying like if you wanted to be, you could. So let's say for sometimes, maybe sometimes you work with different types of communities or different groups of marginalized people.
Yes.
So you could be very specific and say like for women in this area who want to increase the like, okay, so for like, so let's say like, I'm just going to give an example, right? So like you could say like for lower class women in Mogadishu who want their voices to be heard, at PMWDO, we provide a platform to champion and advocate for your fundamental rights. So you could be very specific about who it is that you're talking about for the different projects that you're working on. But having what you've written here, like as a more generic statement, is perfectly fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mahanta says for working overbooked ladies who want to remain young looking, our authentic natural cosmetic powders and masks will bring them anti-aging in 5 minutes. Great. Anna, for mothers who want a healthy family member, we offer them peanut butter, which is very healthy for both soul and body. Lorena, for healthy living people who want to use natural products without chemical substances. Ours are 100% natural, like the spices and essential oils. Okay, so I think some of these can just be like a bit tightened up a little bit. Like I said, I'm not going to go through them each like I did last time and edit them just because of time. But continue to work on these. And if you want to bring them to the next session or to send them to me by email, then you can do so and I can do some edits for you by email later. Okay. All right. So now we're going to move on to this next sample. I'm going to put it in the chat again because there's been some messages. So here we go. And let me put up an example. All right. So now spend 5 minutes working on the second version using this template instead. And if you want to share it in the chat, you are welcome to do so. All right. Okay, ladies, that's also 5 minutes. Let me just have a look. Lydia, yours look great. Anna, our peanut oil helps food industry who want to produce tasty and healthy recipes by using our cooking oil. So what I would say for yours is you might want to say our peanut oil helps. You don't even maybe need to say food industry. You could probably just say our peanut oil helps you produce tasty and healthy recipes using a naturally and locally sourced oil. Or you could even say products, because it's not just your peanut oil. So you could say our food products help you create or produce tasty and healthy recipes by using locally sourced and healthy food products. I think you could say something like that. Yeah. Great. You're welcome. All right, ladies, good. Sarasota candles bring you the light, the warmth of their flame, and the properties of essential oils thanks to its composition of natural origin. Yeah, you could also say, I don't know if you need the last, but actually the composition of natural origin. You could just say Sarasota candles bring you light, warmth of the flame, and the calming and healing properties of essential oils. Yeah, very good, ladies. Great. Okay, so keep practicing these. Like I said, if you want to send them to me by email after the session is over, that's perfectly fine to do, so I can then offer you some edits, which I don't really have time to do now because we only have a half an hour left and we still have a few things to get through. So feel free to drop me an email with this information. I will pop my email right now into the chat. And then Nani, I'll just read yours. Our e-commerce and logistics system enables us to provide our customers with convenient and simple services. This is good if you're talking from a company perspective, but you want to also talk from the client's perspective, the customer's perspective. So you could say our e-commerce and logistics system helps our customers access the products that they want, or to conveniently and simply, or something. Yeah. All right, ladies. So feel free to drop these to me on email and I can give you some more tips as time goes by. Okay. All right, let's move on. Next, you have your unique story. So we all have a story to tell. Our stories are not just the facts and events of our lives, but how we choose to assign meaning to those facts and events. Stories don't just tell what has happened, but also why that event was important. Our stories are what make us unique. And our stories are what's going to set us apart from every other company out there that's doing the same exact thing, because your reason for doing these things is going to be different, okay? So your unique stories can be used in a number of different ways in your business. So the types of unique stories that you may want to share include your personal story. Why did you get into the work that you do? Why are you passionate about what it is that you're doing? Maybe you once were in a similar position to, you were once in a similar position to the customers that you now want to help, and showing your own story and how you came through that is inspirational to them, and it lets them really understand that you understand them. Other unique stories are your why. So why do you do the work that you do? Why did you get into what you're doing? And we're going to touch on those again in a few minutes. Vision stories. Where are you trying to get to with your business? How do you want to expand? What locations do you want to be in? What do you want to transform through your business? Where are you trying to get to? And that's what you can go back to our first session on being authentic, because again, each of you will have a very different vision for what it is that's important to you and what you want from your life and your company. The next type of story that you can share are your company stories. So I touched on this a little bit before. You can talk about your behind the scenes stuff. If you're opening up a new shop, you can share like sneak peeks. If you're designing a new product or service, you can also share sneak peeks of those. You can talk about your achievements and your accolades and the things that are going well for you. You can also talk about things that aren't going so well for you. You know, when I was just starting out in my business, I used to write a blog every 6 weeks or so, which was called My Startup Confessions. And I was sharing like the really hard things that we go through when we're just starting our businesses. And, you know, they weren't glamorous. They weren't exaggerating and trying to make me look better than I was. I was going through a hard time, and I just shared that hard time. And that really resonated with my customers because they also were in those stages of starting business and trying to figure some things out. The next type of story that you can share are success stories. So these can be your personal successes through the company itself, or more importantly, the successes of your clients and your customers. So sharing testimonials, sharing reviews, sharing great things that people are saying about you, results that they've experienced. And then you can also share teaching stories. So especially for those of you who are in an industry where there might need to be some education. You may need to teach people about what type of work you're doing and why it's important. You know, like when I look at Salma, for example, your business, you know, there's probably people that know that there's drought, or that know that there's marginalized communities or people that are suffering, but they may not know the extent of it. So you're really teaching people about the problem. You're teaching people about your solution to the problem, and really using it as an educational tool to get people to connect with you. Okay. So again, in your workbook, I would like you to complete the following sentences, and I'm only going to give you 90 seconds, 1.5 minutes for each of these sentences, because I don't want you to think too much about them. Okay, so you can go through them one by one. I will let you know when your 1.5 minutes are up, but you want to complete these 4 sentences. So the first one is, I love serving the world by. I love serving the world by what? By doing what? By being what? The next thing, I love being known for. The third one is, I am most proud about. And the final one is, people often describe me as. All right, so I'm going to start the timer. I'm going to give you 90 seconds for each of them. And then go ahead and get started one by one. Okay, so feel free to write for the full 90 seconds. You don't have to filter yourself, and you don't have to put these in the chat. These are for your eyes only. All right, off you go, ladies. Okay, move on to the second one. Okay, and now move on to the third one. And now the final one. Okay, great. That is time. I really wanted you to complete these statements for yourself so that you can understand a bit more about your own unique stories and how you can start to use those in your business. I didn't ask you to share all of them. I know that some of you ladies did put them into the chat here, but these are really the things that are going to help your customers and your employees and your partners resonate with you, to know that you are the right person for them to be working with because they agree with who you are as a person and what you stand for. Okay. Yeah, like Mahanta says, like she's proud to be a link between tradition and modernity. You know, she's being described as authentic and committed and a princess. So, you know, just knowing that these are things that, like, these are the things that really drive you. These are the things that make you get out of bed every morning and that you are happy to be able to share with the world. Okay. The next thing that we're going to look at is why you do the things that matter. There is a gentleman, his name is Simon Sinek, and I'm going to show you a short video about him in a second. But what Simon believes is that customers don't really care about how things work or what it is that your thing does, but they will buy into why you're doing it. So why does your company exist? Why did you get out of bed this morning? And why should they care? All right, I'm just going to swap my screen so that I can show you this video. 1 second, you should be able now to see this. And I want to, okay. All right, here we go.
A lot of people don't realize that I actually hated reading for the majority of my life. By the time I was 18, I don't think I had really read a single book unless it was part of an assignment and I was just forced to do it. But ever since I went to first grade, my teachers constantly tried to inspire me to read, and it never worked. It just made me hate it even more. And then finally, when I was about 18 or so, I started to find mentors, most of them online, and they were able to inspire me to read almost instantly. And now I can't even imagine a life where I don't read. So what was the difference between my teachers who tried to inspire me to read for 12 years and failed constantly, and my mentors who were able to do it in basically no time? Well, here it is in the context of the golden circle. My teacher started with the what. You have to read this classic. This is a great book. You have to. Then they sometimes went to the how and said, this is how you read it. But that was it. There was no why. The funny thing is, if I'd asked, why should I read it? They would probably get angry and start yelling. How could you ask a stupid question like that? What do you mean, why should you read a classic? And that anger would mostly come from the fact that they haven't really thought about the why. So they can't really clearly articulate it. Most people, and even most organizations, don't really know why they do what they do. But how are my mentors different from my teachers at school? They had successful relationships. They had success in their businesses. And they said, look, do you want your girlfriend to be attracted to you? Do you want to build a successful business? Do you want to create powerful relationships instead of always getting your emails ignored just like everyone else? And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I want. And they were like, okay, good. Then pick up a book. Oh, and by the way, How to Win Friends and Influence People is a great book. So is The Way of the Superior Man. And I picked up both of those books and read them, and now reading is an inseparable part of my life. That is how great leaders inspire action. Everybody starts from the what. Most people never even get to the why. Most people create a product and they want to tell you about all the amazing features and specifications. They want to tell you about how these features work so well. But the truth is, most people don't care about your what and how. Most people don't want to be told the exact measurements of your CPU. They don't want to be told how the little chips interact with each other so amazingly. They want to be told something like this: we value efficiency just like you do. Here's how we can help you be more efficient. And here's a product that will help you achieve exactly that. And that's exactly what I want to buy. If you tell me my company is going to be more efficient, I want to know more. If you tell me how great your newest chip is, I don't really care. So again, most people start from the what and never even get to the why. You're not going to make that mistake. You're going to know your why, and you're going to start with it because you realize that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
Okay, so people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. They want to be inspired by your why, okay? So the next template that you're going to fill in is this one, to blank, so that blank, okay? So let me put this into the chat. Oops, and then I'm gonna pull up an example. To Okay, so that's going to be your template to follow when you're coming up with your why statement. And here's an example for my business. Okay, so my why is to educate and empower entrepreneurs so that they can make a living doing the work they love. Okay, to educate and empower entrepreneurs so that they can make a living doing the work they love. Now, ladies, I am going to give you I'm going to give you 3 minutes for this. And if you need more time, I can add on a little bit extra. But try to come up with your why statement, and please do share it in the chat with us. All right. So to blank, so that blank. Go ahead and get started. Okay, that's 3 minutes, but let me give you 2 more. Keep working on that. Okay, thank you, ladies, for those who shared yours. Salma, yours looks great. Anna, yours is also good. I would maybe say, and this is if it's accurate. So to, so it's maybe like to improve people's health to improve people's health by providing natural and locally sourced products, so that they can live a healthier lifestyle or be happier, right? So Handra, to light candles with essential oils, so that all the house benefits of their virtues. Yep, Lydia, to enable people to give their space an authentic touch so they can feel alive. Nice. To offer natural cosmetics based on Malangese rituals for a unique and meaningful beauty experience. Perfect. Lorena, to give women their own activities so that they can have financial independence and freedom in their life choices. Perfect. Great, ladies. I love these. These are really, really wonderful. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, great. So these are all just different types of ways that you can start to share your story in your business. You have your why statement, which is what we've just worked on. You have 2 different versions of a value proposition, and you have that you know how statement, which can be used as what we tend to refer to as an elevator pitch. All right. So finally, I want to move on to some of the things that your investors might be interested in. Okay, your clients might be interested as well, but normally these next 2 sections are more about what your partners or your investors might be looking at. So they want you to talk about your results. They want to know the number of customers that you have. They want to know what locations you're in, what your expansion plans are. They want to know the total number of sales that you make and the total value of those sales. So number can be the quantity, whereas value is the dollar value or your local currency value. They'll want to know who you've partnered with already, who is already signed up to your stuff, who is buying into you, who believes in what you're doing, who are your partners. Next, they'll want to know about the impact that you're making. So particularly for those of you who are working in the social impact space or an NGO space, they will want to know the impact. Like, how are you actually making a difference to the lives of the people that you say that you're helping? So they'll want to know about the impact of projects that you've worked on, what the results of those things were, and the real, the way that people's lives have changed as a result of working with you. And then finally, they may also want to know about accolades. So where have you been mentioned? Have you been in the press? Have you won any awards? Have you received any distinguishing comments? Anything that makes you out to look as amazing as you are, they'll want to hear about that as well. Okay. I want to say this is something that you can do in your own time, but in your workbooks, there is space for you to list out all of your achievements. When we're business owners, especially when we're starting out, it can be easier for us to focus on all of the things that are going bad in our business, or all of the things that we still have to do on our to-do list, all of the things that are not where we want them to be. But instead, I want you to really start taking some time to list out the things that you've already achieved. Even if you're just getting started, I promise you that you will have some things that you have already achieved. And those are things that you can start to share about. Maybe it's that you've hired your first employee, or maybe that you got your first customer or your first contract. So after the session is over, do spend some time listing out your achievements so that you're ready to share those when people start asking. Okay. And then the final thing that you're going to want to start to consider are your numbers. Now, by numbers, I'm not just talking about your financial numbers, although those are very important, but there's also other numbers that your potential investors or partners are going to be interested in. So they're going to care about the number of current customers that you have. How many people are already buying from you? And they'll also want to know what is the total number of potential customers that you could have. So how big is your market? How many sales could you potentially make over the course of the next month or quarter or even year? They'll want to know the total number of sales that you're currently making, whether that's on a weekly or monthly or annual basis. They'll want to know the price per unit of your products or services. They'll want to know your profit margins. So your profit margins are, oh, sorry, I skipped one. They'll want to know the total value of your sales. So not just how many sales you're making, but how much are you earning as a result of that. They'll want to know your profit margins. So profit margins is basically the difference between the money that you're bringing in and the money that's going out. So you have money that you're earning into the business, and you have your expenses that you're paying out of the business. And the difference between those two things is your profit. Now, your profit margin is a percentage. So you basically just, you put your earnings over your profit. You put your expenses over your earnings, and that will give you a percentage. So they'll want to know what your profit margin is. Now, for service-based businesses, a profit margin of 30% tends to be quite expected. For product-based businesses, it could be lower. And then most of all, they'll want to know how you expect all of the above to grow. They'll want to know how you're going to grow your customers. They want to know how you're going to increase your sales. How might you increase your prices over time? How will you increase your profit margins over time? And they'll also want to know when, okay? So these are the types of different numbers that your investors are going to care about. So there's also a place in your workbook for you to start to note down what some of your numbers are. I again would like you to do that as homework after this session, just in the sake of time. We only have a few minutes left, okay? So note down all of your achievements, note down what your numbers are, start to be aware of what those things look like, okay? And then the final section I want us to cover off today is preparing to pitch. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that maybe not all of you are looking for investment, maybe some of you are, but I do know that a number of you had asked for additional support about pitching. So I wanted to give you a structure that you can follow if you are to put together some sort of pitch deck, okay? So these are the number of elements that you want to include in your pitch. I'm going to talk through them all very briefly. And what I would really recommend is that you work on your pitch decks. And again, you feel free to send those to me. And then if enough of you send me your pitch decks, then the next time we do a coaching session, we can go through them. I can give you feedback on each of your pitch decks and give you ways to make them tighter and more compelling, okay? So the first thing to include in your pitch is a hook. Now, a hook is something that's going to grab attention. Maybe it's going to be a statistic, maybe it's going to be some figure that's kind of shocking or astonishing, but you want something that's going to grab their attention straight away. The next thing you want to talk about is your solution. What problem is it that you are solving for? Okay, now you all talked about this stuff today with your value proposition. You then want to talk about your customer. Who do you solve this problem for? And how many of them are there? Okay. Then you have your competition. Who else solves this problem, right? There might be competition that solve it the exact same way that you do, but there might be competition that solve it in a different way. Let me give you an example. Let's say you are a restaurant, right? So you solve the problem of hunger. You feed people. Maybe you also solve the problem of a boring Friday night because you have a place that people can go. Now, your competition, of course, is going to be other restaurants, but your competition for, solving a boring Friday night can also be a cinema or a bowling alley or an amusement park or a theater production. If you're solving the problem of entertainment, there's other people that are solving it in different ways. So your competition isn't just those who are doing exactly what you're doing, but also those who are doing something to solve the same problem, but in a different way. You then want to talk about your unique selling proposition. So what makes you different from all of those other competitors? Maybe it's the way that you deliver. Personal story, you understand the struggle yourself, you've been there, you've found a way out, and now you're providing that solution to other people. Next, you want to talk about your revenue model. How do you make money? Do you make money by selling a product? Do you sell a service? Do you have a subscription model? Do you make money through commission? You're going to all make money in different ways. Some of you may make money through donors, right? So donors are funding all of your projects, and you're not making any money from your beneficiaries, but you have to make money from these donations or foundations that are supporting your work. You then want to talk about your team. So who is with you on your team and what skills are currently missing? Investors want to know that you have thought about the problems of your business and that you're not just talking about all the good stuff. So you will inevitably, as you are growing, you'll have some things that are missing. Maybe you don't have someone that can do marketing properly, or maybe you don't have someone that can do finance properly, or maybe you don't have someone who is really great at sales. So they'll want to know who is missing from your team so that you can start to identify the skills that you need to bring in, whether that be with new employees or board members or mentors, advisors, etc. And then finally, in your pitch, you want to have that call to action. What do you want the listener to do next? Do you want them to set up a meeting with you? Do you want them to book a consultation? Do you want them to give you money? Do you want them to make a donation? Give them something that they can do at the end of your pitch so that you can continue the conversations and get the results that you're looking for. Okay. So when you're putting together a pitch deck, you can have one slide on each of these different areas. You start with the hook, you move on to the problem, the customer, the competition, et cetera, and you have one for each. Your pitch deck doesn't need to be super long. It's really about making sure that it has the right sort of information and that you're able to deliver it in a way that compels the audience to pay attention, okay? So if you have a pitch deck already, please try to put it into this format. And if any of this information is missing, you want to make sure that you add it into that. As I said, feel free to send me your pitch decks by email. And if enough of you send me your pitch decks, then I will be happy to run our next coaching session to give you feedback on those pitch decks and to tell you how you can improve them better. So if at least 50% of you send me your pitch decks, then that can be our next session. But if not many of you do, then I won't think that it's so necessary. And then instead, you might want to work with your pitch. You might want to work with your mentors on your pitch. Okay. All right, ladies, that covers off a lot of content for today that hopefully has given you a bit more confidence in how to talk about yourself and also about your business. I want to now turn it over to you for a few minutes. What questions do you have for me, if any? Let me know in the chat or feel free to raise your hand and we can unmute you if there's anything you want to ask. Can I explain? So Lydia asked, can you explain some more about the hook for the pitch? Yeah, so for example, let me use some of your businesses actually. Let me go back up to your you know how statement, Lydia. Hold on one second. So for yours, Lydia, so for example, if you're doing your pitch, because you're supplying eco-friendly products, you could say something like, did you know that 50%, or actually, did you know that 90% of all of the products made locally end up in landfill? Right? Or some shocking statistic about non-eco-friendly products. Like what happens if something is not eco-friendly? I remember a few years ago watching a pitch about diapers, right? And someone who wanted to make eco-friendly diapers. And what they were saying is like, do you know that it takes over 100 years for a diaper to decompose in a landfill? And think about all the babies in the world and how many diapers they produce. That's millions and millions and millions of diapers. So some sort of like shocking statistic that some people might not know, but that's directly related to your product or service is a great way to have a hook. Or if I think about Salma, for yours, for example, maybe you have a hook about the statistic around the number of people that are dying of hunger, right? Because of drought. Did you know that last month alone, 1,500 children under the age of 5 died due to malnutrition, right? Or whatever the number might be. Those are things that you can use as hooks, some sort of sensational statement that really kind of grabs their attention in the beginning, okay? Does that help, Lydia? Great, okay. Alina asks, could you give some examples for an ideal pitch? I mean, I've given you the structure to follow. It would be better if you put together one and you share it with me, and then I can give you some tips on how to make yours better, because there is no one size fits all pitch. I mean, you really do want to follow, oops, let me go back. You really want to follow this sort of format and make sure that your pitch includes all of this information. But it's better if you can do this specifically for your business, and then I can give you specific feedback on what's maybe missing or what can be improved, because there really is no ideal pitch. It's really down to the business and what it is that you're trying to pitch for. But what is really important for your pitch is that you're confident, right? You need to be confident standing there in front of people and talking about your business. And this is where I see a lot of people fall down, because they don't practice enough, or they don't have a format to follow, or they haven't made themselves a script. I know that when you're, for example, you might be pitching in English, which may not be your first language. And, you know, there's biases that come into that. You know, people listen to your accent and they immediately think, oh, she has an accent, and they don't listen to the content of, like they don't listen to the content of what you're saying. They just focus on how you're saying it. So it's really about like making sure that you're practicing and that you have that down pat. If there's a better word more than another, for examples. Sorry, Alina, I don't know what you mean. Do you want to unmute yourself and ask me? Alina? Oh, okay. I get you now. I think I get you. So a pitch is like the presentation that you make about your business. They're often called pitches because you're throwing it out there. You're putting out this message that you're hoping people catch on to. Apologies, it's an English word that's used quite commonly, but what it basically means is like it's a presentation about your business. It's usually in a PowerPoint format. You might be standing in front of a room of investors and talking about your business, or maybe you're doing it in a university setting and presenting your business idea to an audience of people. I think that's what you're asking me, but let me know if I'm misunderstanding. Am I answering you right though, Alina? Is that what you were asking me? Is what I meant by pitch? I hope I got that right, Alina, but if not, please just let me know, okay? But it's just basically you presenting about your business. You can't hear me. Can everyone else hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Daniel. David is here.
Okay, all right. Okay. Alina, if you have other questions, feel free to reach out. Okay, you follow. Okay, perfect. What other questions do you ladies have for me today or things that you need help with? We're still here. All right, well, if there's nothing further, then as I said to you before, please feel free to email me with your sample statements of your how statement, your value propositions, and your why. I'm happy to provide feedback on any of those. And as I mentioned, if you do want to send me a presentation about your business following the format that I shared just now, please do that. And then we can always review those together during the next coaching session in August. All right. But thank you all for your participation today. Thank you for being here, for taking part in all of the activities. And I really look forward to working with you again next month. All right. Take care, ladies. Have a great afternoon and a very nice weekend.
Likewise. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.